earlier today. If you follow me on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, you may have seen me come live to share this message with you that I have, which is that you're not lazy, but hard work isn't constant. And guess what? My microphone was muted. So here we are, being human and real and vulnerable on social media, which is another testament to how God uses us to bring messages forward. And we, in our infinite wisdom, don't always do that right. My question for you is, do you have this inkling that if you don't work constantly or continually, if you are not abiding by the business as usual rules that say that you have to be available all hours of the day and night and even the weekend, that if you don't work hard, then the value that you bring is actually not worth it? And does that voice tell you that you're lazy? Maybe you don't have this issue, but one of the lessons that I've recently been diving into with the Lord is, why am I so driven to work hard and work constantly? What am I trying to prove, or whose approval am I trying to gain? That's what I want to talk to you about today. This morning, while I was sitting out on my deck overlooking the Chesapeake Bay and journaling in my remarkable device, I was asking the Lord to search my heart and show me what needed to bubble up and bubble out so that my heart could better align to His will. Now, the fact that I was sitting out there and journaling at 10 o'clock in the morning versus doing something online or on my laptop was in and of itself a little different for me. See, I have what I consider to be a killer work ethic. I work with integrity. I show up. I get the job done. But for my whole life, I have equated hard work with value and with worth. And in fact, when I am not shutting down in the evening or on a weekend, and most particularly when I was in a corporate executive role and I was led to believe that I had to be constantly available, I didn't do a good job of shutting down. And so the voice and the ongoing cassette tape, for those that remember cassette tapes, in my brain was that I must be lazy. I must be lazy. And so today, in my journaling with the Lord, He began to show me that He didn't make me to work that way. He didn't make you to work that way. And He began to show me that this lie from the pit of hell, that I am lazy if I'm not constantly working, was directly connected to my need for approval. So I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and I'm not here to diagnose your challenges. But I bring this forward because as I finished this morning, He said, "Now I want you to go share this." You see, my role as a Christian business coach is to stand at the intersection of biblical truth and business acumen, and to help my clients, mainly high achieving sisters in Christ with established businesses or who have roles in a boardroom, to help them understand what it means to redefine hustle and to work as Jesus worked. Make no mistake, if you look at the Gospels, you see Jesus working. You see that He was really busy, that He was working with small groups and large groups and one on one. He was even pushing out from shore and standing in a boat to teach those listening on the shoreline. But what you never see Jesus do is generally overwork. You never see Him try to work in His own power. You never see Him hurried or flustered. And the main reason for that is because He was obedient and He was seeking His Father first. But how often do we come to the workplace or do we come to our business and think, if I just do this a little bit longer, if I just send out a few more emails or make a few more calls or show up a little longer online, that will move my business forward? And what the Lord wants us to know is that He didn't make us to work in that chaos. So, what He was showing me today is what I want to share with you. And that is that my overwork is directly related to the approvals that I feel like I need to gain. And that when I'm not working and trying to get that approval, the enemy wants me to believe the lie that I am lazy. And that is a lie. So, what do these approvals look like? Well, in my life, they look like a few things. Number one is trying to get God's approval. And the thing is that God doesn't tell me to work constantly. And I don't need to gain his approval to be saved or have his grace or have his unconditional love. He's given me all of that because of Jesus' sacrifice. But yet somehow I feel I need to prove that I'm productive for him and for his glory. And that I'm really serving the women he's given me to serve because I'm showing up online and I'm showing up in all the places and doing all the things. But the Lord reminded me that that is not what he asks of me. The second person whose approval that I often seek are those who might become clients, the prospective clients. How do I seek their approval? Where well, they're people like you who follow along and engage with my content, right? That I'm beating myself up because I didn't send a weekly email on a Monday like I usually do and I sent it on a Tuesday. I'm pretty sure you don't care. Or I'm showing up online and I need to show that I'm active and I'm here and I'm available when you probably aren't worried about that either. All of those places that I feel like I have to be to make a point that I am working doesn't matter to those who follow me or engage with my content. They want my content when my content shows up in their inbox or when they see it online. And God is the perfect connector and timer of when you see my content at the time that you need it. The third group of people that I am seeking approval from sometimes are my own clients. Listen, my clients choose to work with me because they have all of the outward success, but it is not congruent with the inner emptiness and unfulfillment that they feel. Why? Because they're constantly overachieving and overworking. And what I help them do is understand that Jesus is there to lead their business, and their job is to be obedient, and that He can do more with their faithful rest than we can do with our faithful work. But it's funny because it's like I'm trying to keep up appearances for my clients who are doing their own work and they don't care when I'm working other than I am available at the time that we are coaching or the time that we're gathering as a community, that I'm available on Voxer when they need to leave a message for me. They could care less what hours of the day that I am working. The last person, aside from myself, that I tend to be working for approval is my husband. And here's what's funny is that he expects none of that from me. But he is a 9 to 5er. He has a high level job with the federal government and so he works Monday through Friday. And so I find that I try to adjust my schedule and show him that I'm working. When he doesn't understand business and what I do, he doesn't ever question if I'm working or not. Why am I trying to seek that approval? The last person is myself. Perhaps it's because I'm not equating what I'm earning being worthy of less than a lot of work. So I have to work hard and therefore that justifies the value of my income or my revenue, etc., which again is a bold-faced lie from the pit of hell. But see, the enemy knows how to push my buttons and he knows how to push your buttons too. So, why are you continuing to work all hours of the night? Why do you not shut down over the weekend? Why maybe do you not shut down on vacation? Is this an unwritten rule in your organization? I remember when I was in corporate, I was about to close a big deal and I was getting ready to go on vacation. And I remember my boss saying, "Are you sure you want to hand over this work to your colleague? Don't you want the credit for that?" Well, first of all, I would be getting the credit for it because it's my client, but I've entrusted it to a colleague who has my best interests in mind and vice versa. So, yes, I'm going to shut down and honor my family by being on vacation. But maybe you don't feel that way in your organization. Or maybe as an entrepreneur, you have bought into the lie that entrepreneurs not only work harder than everyone else, they work constantly, unlike everyone else. Friend, that's not true. Can you be effective in 4 instead of 8 hours? Of course you can, especially if you're allowing the Holy Spirit to direct you. So let me take us to Ecclesiastes because as I opened that this morning, which is where the Lord led me. And I believe he led me there because of this idea of like, there is a perfect time for everything, right? He took me to Ecclesiastes, which speaks perfectly of God's appointed times for everything in the world: a time to plant, which I would equate to work, and a time to harvest, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to mourn, a time to heal. For every activity, including all works of all types, there is a time. And you know what else? There's a time for Sabbath. I read as I was studying through Priscilla Schreier's Bible study called Breathe, which is all about the Sabbath, that someone wrote that the Lord created the Sabbath because it was the one thing that was missing from the equilibrium of everything that he had created. There is a time for Sabbath. That might mean sitting for 10 minutes and reading a book, coloring, watching nature around you. There is a time for everything. It does not say that there is that any one thing is to be done constantly. No, it doesn't say that. You know what is to be done constantly? A couple of things. Seeking the Lord first, to be done constantly and in every situation and every moment. Being obedient, to be done in every situation and every moment. The Great Commission: love people, make disciples, to be done in every situation, every moment. But how can we show up reflecting Christ in calm and joy and peace if we're constantly moving, if we're constantly working, and maybe working to seek approval? Ecclesiastes goes on to say, what do people really get for their hard work? We cannot see the whole scope of the Lord's work from beginning to end. But what we do know is that it also says that we are to eat, drink, and enjoy the fruits of our labor because these are his gifts. Now, I read this not only that the fruits of our labor are his gifts, but also our ability to eat and drink and enjoy our gifts. If the sovereign Lord, who created you and I on purpose for a purpose, has gifted us the opportunity to have a time for everything and to eat, drink, and enjoy the fruits of our labor, why would we not slow down and do that? Why do we believe the lie that we're lazy if we're not constantly working? Why do we believe that we have to be constantly working or it's just not going to happen? Friend, I have seen miraculous breakthroughs in businesses, in my own, in my clients, when we stop and get quiet and obedient. I have seen him bring clients to my clients and opportunities when they were resting. I have seen my own calendar fill up with discovery calls while I was on vacation and being obedient to shut it all down. If you haven't listened to episode 252 about my 3 lessons for going off the grid, go listen to that. The point is this: where are you overworking and working constantly? And are you doing it to gain some kind of approval? Take that to the Lord. Ask him to show you. Ask him to bubble up in you the things that you need to see, to search your heart and see where you've taken integrity and killer work ethic just a little further than he intended because you're constantly working and trying to prove that you bring value or that you can be productive. Whatever that is for you, friend, take that up with the Lord. I want to encourage you to engage with my content by getting on my email list. You can do that. This will be down in the show notes, but you can download my 4 keys audio devotional, and that will put you on my email list. Friends, we don't know what social media is ever going to do, but if you engage with me on my email list, you can guarantee that I will be there, not at all hours of the night either. So go to erinharrigan.com/4keys devotional to do that. And I would love to hear what you think about this. So send me an email at erin@erinharrigan.com. Yes, you can direct message me on social media, but email is going to reach me most directly. And I want to hear what you thought about this and what this hit inside of you, because it was a big lesson for me today. And until next time, I pray for and encourage you to tune out the world and its lies about hard work and being lazy if you're not working hard. Tune into God's truth, like in Ecclesiastes. and turn up focus so that you can walk out your mission in the marketplace and glorify Him in doing it. I'll see you on the next episode.